Boys and girls, have I got a sick, albeit long one for you today. The Gktech hidden hydraulic handbrake, so let's get into what you get. This is the assembly itself, a simple yet complicated looking device for stealth operations and some much needed instruction. This unit was designed around an S chassis, but for you other people out there, it can be made to fit pretty much anything that uses a cable setup with a little bit of gusto and creative juices. This is what it looks like assembled with the optional Wilwood Master. It also fits left and right hand drive. Features, baby! Now, let's install. Hire your favorite octopus man, in this case Zach, to take apart your center console, pull the e-brake up, and get that thing out of the way for now. Remove that always rusted center bracket, and this is where the unit will sit, so you can get a visual. Let's get the rest of this stuff out of the way. Start by erotically moving the rubber handbrake boot and the main cable plate, probably less erotically, and bam, both are off. Put the handle back down and remove the bolts holding it on. Now head under the car and disconnect the main cable. Back up top and remove the entire lever assembly. Grab your favorite cutting device and slice some carpet out of the center. Then grab a tool that can cut through stuff and cut the cable. Now remove the locking nut for the cable and drill out the cable mount rivet. Now punch it out like Mike Tyson. Remove the cable sleeve, leaving the cable bare, naked, and alone. It's time to reinstall the lever assembly back to the car. Tighten the bolts down, then check the Gktech unit for carpet clearance. Mark and trim where it needs to be cut, then recut and remove as need be. We want to be bolting directly to metal here. Moving right along to the center console itself, we will be cutting the floor out, rendering this already useless cubby even more useless. We'll leave this up to you on how to get it out, but this is what it should look like when you're done. Make sure this section here is cut out as well. This will allow the lever to swing as it needs clearance. Pop the unit on and install the center console over it. Position the master into the rear right-hand corner for right-hand drive and the rear left-hand corner for left-hand drive. Now mark the bracket bolt holes and remark them on the transmission tunnel with everything uninstalled. Punch a few marks for ease of drillage, then drill out said markings. Now your final drill holes will need to be 8mm or 17/64 for the smaller holes and 12mm or 27/64 for the front larger ones. Slide the two rear and one front bolts through the respective holes and head to the bottom of the car. To fit the support plate and the nuts, then torque those to the specs on the screen. Now, have a friend or do some magical magnet work and feed the last bolt up through the special looking top nut. Pop on the bracket, then put the regular nut on the top of that and tighten and torque those to the specs shown on the screen. Now install the master cylinder into the bracket, install the bolts and nuts, then tighten both and torque those to spec as well, because nobody wants a floppy master. Making sure the handbrake is all the way down, we're going to move on to the next steps. Remove the rose joint from the bracket and thread it onto the master cylinder. Put the bolt back in with the nut on the bottom and tighten and torque to these specs. Now remove the nut from the clevis side, grab the cable and mark it a little further back than the end of the clevis as it has to seat inside and needs a little bit of wiggle room for adjustment. Cut the cable at the mark, then line up the insert as shown. Mark the cable where it needs to go, then remove the e-brake assembly yet again. You'll also want to remove the clevis pin and the circlip. Now we're going to move over to a bench to show you what's next. Remove the clear plastic sleeve from the cable. You'll want to cut around 28mm or 1.1 inches of material. Now fit the nut onto the cable, then the insert. The insert does need to bite onto metal, that's why we remove the plastic coating. Slip the clevis on and tighten the lock nut, crushing the insert and locking it down onto the cable. Now reinstall the lever assembly yet again, tightening and torquing to these specs. Slide the clevis over the lever and install the pin and circlip. Now test for proper installation. If it looks like this, move on. If not, go watch this video again. Now slip the line down through the transmission tunnel and connect it to the master. You're going to want to tighten that thing down. Reinstall the rusty center console bracket and tighten the bolts down. Lift the e-brake up and install the center console. Then close that lid, hiding your magical slide sticks mechanism inside. Rehire OctoZac and install the center console screws, then centrally install the lever boot as well. Bleed the system out and soak up any adjustments via the rod or cable. Make sure you leave a little slack as the fluid does expand and you don't want the brake on all the time. Now you can stealthily rip skids with the best of them. Follow these dull adults on YouTube, they need the moral support. If you can't do this yourself, please have a pro do it and email us with any questions. This is Officer Dan, Johnny Caps, and Octozac signing off until next time we have you remove your e-brake assembly 14 times in a row. Peace.